Hi, welcome to our channel Programming of Mind, where we accelerate your knowledge with concise, from high-value book summaries. Let's begin the foundations of compassionate communication. Communication is not just about exchanging words. It's about understanding feelings, needs, and desires. The first step in compassionate communication is realizing that every interaction is driven by basic human needs. Whether you're speaking or listening, it's essential to understand that the core of human behavior is an attempt to fulfill a need. When people are angry, upset, or distant, it's often because their needs are not being met. By focusing on the needs of both parties in a conversation, we move away from judgment and criticism and move towards understanding and cooperation. Consider a workplace scenario. Imagine a manager who notices an employee arriving late to meetings. The manager might feel frustrated and reprimand the employee, thinking that the lateness is a sign of irresponsibility. However, if the manager were to focus on the employee's needs, perhaps they are struggling with personal issues or facing challenges with time management, compassionate communication could open a dialogue where both the manager and the employee feel heard and understood. This approach not only resolves the immediate issue, but also strengthens trust and respect in the relationship. The four components of nonviolent communication. Nonviolent communication is built around four key components: observations, feelings, needs, and requests. These four steps form a process that allows people to express themselves honestly and clearly without blame or judgment. Each component plays a vital role in ensuring that communication remains empathetic and constructive. Observations. Seeing without judgment, the first step in nonviolent communication is observation. It's crucial to separate our observations from our evaluations. Observations are factual and objective, while evaluations are subjective judgments based on personal beliefs. For example, instead of saying, "You're always late," you could say, "I noticed you arrived 10 minutes after the meeting started." This statement focuses on the observable fact and leaves room for the other person to explain without feeling attacked. Real-life example. A teacher notices a student frequently interrupting the class. Instead of labeling the student as disruptive, the teacher might say, "I've noticed that you've spoken over others several times during the lesson today." This creates space for understanding the student's behavior without jumping to conclusions. Feelings. Expressing emotion without blame. The second component is to express feelings, not judgments. Often, when we speak about our emotions, we can inadvertently assign blame. Instead of saying, "You make me angry," we should express how we feel in response to a situation. For example, saying, "I feel frustrated when the meetings run late," focuses on the speaker's emotion without making the other person responsible. A real-life scenario. A couple might argue over chores at home. Instead of saying, "You never help around the house," one partner could say, "I feel overwhelmed when I see the dishes piling up." This shift allows for a more empathetic conversation, as the focus is now on the partner's feelings rather than accusing the other. Needs. Understanding the root cause of feelings. Behind every feeling is an unmet need. By recognizing our needs and articulating them clearly, we provide the other person with a better understanding of why we feel the way we do. When we focus on the underlying need, it opens up the conversation for mutual problem solving. For example, if you feel upset about someone interrupting you, you might realize that the root cause of the feeling is a need for respect and attention. Instead of focusing on blaming the other person, you can express, "I have a need for respect when I'm speaking." Real-life example. In a workplace conflict, two colleagues might disagree about the direction of a project. One may say, "I feel frustrated," but when they explore the underlying need, they might realize they are seeking clarity and understanding. This allows the discussion to shift towards problem-solving rather than emotional escalation. Requests. Inviting cooperation with clarity. The final component is to make clear, specific requests. A request should focus on action that could meet the needs of both parties. Instead of making demands, which can lead to resistance, a request invites collaboration and solutions. A request might sound like, "Would you be willing to make sure the next meeting starts on time?" This statement focuses on the desired action, making it easier for the other person to respond positively. The power of empathy in communication. Empathy is at the heart of nonviolent communication. It is not simply about understanding someone's words, but about deeply connecting with their feelings and needs. Empathy requires presence, patience, and a genuine willingness to listen without judgment. When we listen empathetically, we create space for the other person to feel safe, heard, and validated. Thank you for listening, and please like the video and subscribe for more great upcoming content that will put you in top 1% people in the world.